Innovation is the key word of our times. Indeed, we live in an age of radical transformations, and Europe in particular is facing great challenges socially, economically, environmentally. And for that, multi-actor systemic solutions are needed. So universities are engaged in finding solutions together with businesses, small and large, non-governmental organizations, users, citizens, city organizations, in order to address these challenges.
A significant part of this work goes on within the regions of the universities, where you can see universities really embracing open innovation and sharing knowledge with their partners in order to find innovative solutions together.
What comes out of the report is that leaders are particularly important in regional innovation systems. Very often we found that such leadership found a starting point in the response to the crisis, and then were able together, cutting across institutional boundaries, so university leaders together with city leaders, regional leaders, business leaders, to find a common agenda of how to position the whole region in networks to move toward new technological, economic and social frontiers and find new innovative pathways to emerge from the crisis.
The report clearly shows that in order to have that important societal functions, universities themselves need to be strong institutions in their regional setting. And that means that they need the autonomy and that they need sufficient funding, of course, to play that important role.
Looking inside the universities, we find that the innovation moving to the core attention of universities also means that it connects with the core mission of teaching and research. We see some measures that have already been in the focus of teaching reforms coming to the fore as part of an innovation agenda, such as project-based learning, challenge-driven projects, the emphasis on independent thinking against the grain and finding solutions in a self-organized manner.
We have seen a lot of interest in teaching enhancement, also beyond this project. And it's really an important part of the effort of universities to integrate innovation, to move towards problem-based learning. And often it's the students that drive this. It's the students that really want to have more meaningful and more real-life problem-based learning experiences.
A lot of these innovation projects and larger programs and networks are driven by joint challenges. Often these challenges are connected to a relatively small number of enabling technologies, but they don't just stay focused on the pure technological development. They actually embed such questions of technological development and the frontiers of moving these forward within a larger context of systemic solutions that would also include social and ethical and economic questions.
Transversal technologies give the opportunity for universities to really specialize in how they handle grand challenges. So these can be things like big data, artificial intelligence, material science. And you can use these, for instance, if you work in mobility, either to look at the vehicle and how that works, but you can also use similar technologies to look at how a whole mobility system works. And that's an important way how technologies and challenges are being combined in the research of the universities.
Businesses and universities are not just engaging in traditional formats of collaboration, but are often then developing joint organizational forms, so joint institutes, long-term partnerships. And what is interesting to observe is that startups play such a large role, both from the point of view of the university, trying to actually push, promote startups, help startups form, but also from the point of view of businesses who are interested in the new ideas that are coming from startups. And all of this together in networks where both problems and the solutions are being developed jointly.
The universities are a place for this co-creation, and this is often in a very physical way, that they have the infrastructure or the physical settings where actors can meet and create and get to know each other and create the trust they need as well to find solutions.
These regional innovation systems, and in particularly the dynamics that unfold, are determined very strongly by the cultural and social coherence. When we look at the social and cultural coherence, we also find narratives that emerge across different institutions that are being mentioned repeatedly as common sense of where the region is heading, how its history has actually animated some of its current capacity, and how it finds a common agenda.
Culture plays an immense role. Co-creation happens because people have the same values, they have the same narratives, often about overcoming a crisis together, and that creates a togetherness and common values that form the basis of the ecosystem.
It is fascinating to see across the regions we looked at in the study how a new generation, the current generation of students and young researchers, are really strongly pushing for change. And we see that strongly in the student initiatives, in the kinds of teaching formats that they respond to with great, not just enthusiasm, but engagement and commitment. So we find a lot of initiatives, both as startups, but also in student projects and student associations, and in the way they respond to new teaching formats that have to do with project development, with challenges where technological solutions and new cultural forms of working together and social innovation are being brought together. And the interesting thing is that that connects so well with the new role that universities are assuming in pushing for systemic solutions that embed technological and scientific advances and breakthroughs in social and political contexts of finding solutions that will create a longer term future that is sustainable.